Hi friends, it's Miss Amanda from the Allen County Public Library and it's virtual story time. Today we're going to read a book called The Three Little Javelinas, and it's a twist on the original The Three Pigs tale that you've probably heard about three little pigs and a big bad wolf. I really hope you enjoy this story and stick around afterwards for a really fun craft. The Three Little Javelinas by Susan Lowell, illustrated by Jim Harris. We would like to thank Rising Moon Publishers for allowing us to read this to you virtually today. To check out this book, you can download the Overdrive or Libby app to your smartphone. Once upon a time, way out in the desert, there were three little javelinas. Javelinas are wild, hairy, southwestern cousins of pigs. Their heads were hairy, their backs were hairy, and their bony legs, all the way down to their hard little hooves, were very hairy, but their snouts were soft and pink. One day, the three little javelinas trotted away to seek their fortunes. In this hot, dry land, the sky was almost always blue. Steep purple mountains looked down on the desert where the cactus forest grew. Soon the little javelinas came to a spot where the path divided, and each one went a different way. And there's our three javelinas today. 1, 2, and 3. The first little javelina wandered lazily along. He didn't see a dust storm whirling across the desert until it caught him. The whirlwind blew away and left the first little javelina sitting in a heap of tumbleweeds. Brushing himself off, he said, "I'll build a house with them," and in no time at all he did. And there's the first little javelina, and he built his house out of tumbleweeds. Ooh, but I see a coyote in the shade of the desert. Then along came a coyote. He ran through the desert so quickly and so quietly that he was almost invisible. In fact, this was only one of Coyote's many magical tricks. He laughed when he saw the tumbleweed house and smelled the javelina inside. A tender, juicy piggy, he thought. Coyote was tired of eating mice and rabbits. He called out sweetly, little pig, let me come in." "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," shouted the first javelina, who had a lot of hair on his chinny chin chin. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in," said Coyote. And he huffed and he puffed and he blew the little tumbleweed house away. But in all of the hullabaloo, the first little javelina escaped and went looking for his brother and sister. Coyote, who was very sneaky, tiptoed along behind. The second little javelina walked for miles among giant cactus plants called saguaros. They held their ripe red fruit high in the sky, but they made almost no shade, and the little javelina grew hot. Then he came upon a Native American woman who was gathering sticks from inside a dried-up cactus. She planned to use these long sticks called saguaro ribs to knock down the sweet cactus fruit. The second little javelina said, "Please, may I have some sticks to build a house?" "Ha'ow," she said, which means yes in the language of the desert people. And there he is, really hot, but thankfully he saw the Native American woman. He got some saguaro ribs. Oh, and his brother found him. It looks like they are relaxing, finally, in the shade of their new house made of saguaro sticks. When he was finished building his house, he lay down in the shade. Then his brother arrived, panting from the heat, and the second little javelina moved over and made a place for him. Pretty soon, Coyote found the Saguaro Rib House. He used his magic to make his voice sound just like another javelina's. Little pig, let me come in," he called. But the javelinas were suspicious. The second one cried, "No, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin." Bah, thought Coyote. I am not going to eat your hair. Then Coyote smiled, showing all of his sharp teeth. I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in. So he huffed and he puffed, and all the saguaro ribs came tumbling down. But the two little javelinas escaped into the desert. Still not discouraged, Coyote followed. Sometimes his magic did fail, but then he usually came up with another trick. Here's the third little javelina, the sister pig. The third little javelina trotted through beautiful Payo Verde trees with green trunks and yellow flowers. She saw a snake sliding by, smooth as oil. A hawk floated round and round above her. Then she came to a place where a man was making adobe bricks from mud and straw. The bricks lay on the ground, baking in the hot sun. The third little javelina thought for a moment and said, May I please have a few adobes to build a house? Sí, answered the man, which means yes in Spanish, the brickmaker's language. So the third javelina built herself a solid little adobe house, cool in the summer and warm in the winter. When her brothers found her, she welcomed them in and locked the door behind them. Coyote followed their trail. And here she is, greeting her brother pigs. It looks like she's already decorated her house. There's pictures on the wall and furniture and some pretty purple wallpaper. Little pig, let me come in, he called. The three little javelinas looked out the window. This time, Coyote pretended to be very old and weak with no teeth and a sore paw. But they were not fooled. No, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin, called back the third little javelina. Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in, said Coyote. He grinned, thinking of the wild pig dinner to come. Just try it, shouted the third little javelina. So Coyote huffed and puffed, but the adobe bricks did not budge. Again, Coyote tried. I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in. The three little pigs covered their hairy ears, but nothing happened. The javelinas peeked out the window. There they are, covering their ears. Oh, and here he is. He's got another plan. He couldn't blow down those adobe bricks. So now he's trying to go down the stovepipe. The tip of Coyote's raggedy tail whisked right past their noses. He was climbing up the tin roof. Next, Coyote used his magic to make himself very skinny. The stovepipe, gasped the third little javelina. Quickly, she lit a fire inside of her wood stove. What a feast it will be, Coyote said to himself. He squeezed into the stovepipe. I think I'll eat them with red hot chili sauce. Whoosh, sizzle. Here they are peeking out the window, and what do they see? Then the three little javelinas heard an amazing noise. It was not a bark. It was not a cackle. It was not a howl. It was not a scream. It was all of those sounds together. Yep, yap, yeep, yow! Away ran a puff of smoke shaped like a coyote. The three little javelinas lived happily ever after in the adobe house. And if you ever hear Coyote's voice way out in the desert at night, well, you know what he's remembering? Those three javelinas, of course. The end. Stay tuned for a fun craft with Miss Amanda. Supplies for today's craft include markers, crayons, glue, scissors. We also used red paper and brown paper. We also used pine shavings that you would use in pet bedding. And there's other options that you can use in this craft that Miss Amanda will explain. Wasn't that a fun story? I thought you would enjoy that different version of the Three Little Pigs. And now you know a new word, javelina. Isn't that a fun word to say? Javelina. Today we're going to do a fun craft, and it's going to be about our 3 pig friends, 1, 2, and 3. And this is the craft that we're going to do. The 3 little pigs, and we have our 3 houses with the ones that we kind of heard from in our story. Now the traditional story has a house made of straw, a house made of sticks, and a house made of bricks. And that's the version that I'm doing. But if you want to copy the version from our story and change this up a bit, you can. So in our first one, it was a house made of tumbleweeds, a house made of saguaro ribs, and a house made of adobe bricks. So whatever you want to do is fine. The materials that you will need are listed in the picture that we posted earlier. But for a little recap, you'll need some paper, you'll need some scissors and glue and markers. If you want to be really creative and find different materials to make your craft have different textiles, you can. So for my straw, I'm actually using what you would use in like a hamster box or chicken coops. It's just kind of, they're pine shavings or shavings of any kind. If you want to use sticks from outside on your yard, you can use sticks as well, grass, whatever you want to use is fine. So let's get started. Below on this video, there is a template that you can print off for yourself to use as a guide. And each one I have labeled what needs to go where. So the 3 little pigs, parents, this is a great opportunity for you to kind of tell your child where things need to go and see if they can remember in their mind what you're telling them. So we have straw, sticks, and bricks. I would lay out your materials and see if they can first categorize each piece that they have where it needs to go. So instead of gluing things down straight away, see if they can match the item to the box that's listed. So we want to have our first box be our straw. So see if they can find their shavings or their pieces of straw to go here. Over here you might have little red squares as your bricks. See if they know where that needs to go. It's a great time for learning, isn't it? So I'm going to do this from left to right, from straw to bricks. So my first one is the straw. I'm going to back this camera up so you hopefully can see what I'm doing. That's better. So in our first box is our straw box. You're going to get your glue and you're going to put glue all over that box. This might be better suited if you were going to use liquid glue. It might hold a little bit better, but it will be messier. Whatever you're going to do, parents, is fine. So I've put glue all over my straw box. I'm going to use my little shavings and just pour them down. And then you can press them down until they're all sticky on all the glue pieces, like so. You may need to add a little bit more glue as you go, and that's fine. And then you'll just shake off the excess. So we shake it off, and there is our straw house. Okay, we'll just wipe this mess away. And now we're going to do our sticks, or our saguaros. That's another new word that we learned in our story, wasn't it? Saguaros. Saguaros are those sticks that are found inside of cactus plants after they dry out. If you want to use paper for your sticks, just because it's convenient and easy, I have thin cardboard, but you could also use brown paper. You could have them draw sticks with markers. Whatever you have at your home will do just fine. So get your piece of paper and just have your child cut little thin strips all the way to the top. And this is kind of fun. I like doing it all the way across on your card that you're going to use. And then it's like we're going to give our sticks a haircut. So you'll see what I mean. We'll just do a few. Maybe have your child count to 10 as they're doing their strips of sticks. So I have like several there. And then you're going to say, kids, it's time to give our sticks a haircut. So I've got them here, and you start cutting that strip, and they all fall down. And that gives you a pile of sticks for your kids to play with. Again, same method. Get your glue stick, cover your stick house on that rectangle completely with glue. And then I want you to have your child lay their sticks down one by one, starting from left to right. When we start from left to right, that really helps your child understand the direction of the things that we read. So I would encourage any type of activity that you're doing in regards to crafts, reading, make sure you're emphasizing the need to do things from left to right. So I'm just going to do my sticks from left to right in really nice straight lines, because most sticks are pretty straight if you want a really good house to be built. If you have crooked sticks, it might make your house crooked, and it might make that wolf be able to blow your house down a little easier. So there is our little stick house. Now for the third house, what did the pig make their house out of? Do you remember? Bricks, that's right. In our story, the sister pig used adobe bricks, but for the purpose of this activity, I just cut out little bitty red strips of paper. And a way that you can do that, parents, with your children, that makes it a little easier for them to understand, is to pre-cut excuse me, some strips of paper like this, and then have them, it's good exercise practice for their fingers, get their scissors and just cut little chunks off of their strip to make little bricks. And each one will be a tiny rectangle that will replicate that brick just fine. So once they have their little pile of bricks over here, we're going to lay them again left to right, starting from the bottom. They're going to make their house of bricks. It's okay to leave a little space between each brick segment, because that really makes it look like a brick house. So one at a time, just lay your bricks down. You can always extend these activities by talking about what kinds of materials you need when making a house, why it's so important to have a really good foundation. If you don't have a good solid foundation, if it's not level, your whole house will be crooked, and that would not be good. And here is my brick house. So we have our straw house or our tumbleweed house. We have our stick house or our saguaro house. And we have our brick house or our adobe house, whichever one you want to use, the original version or the version from today's story. I'm going to speed through the next part of this because it's just me coloring. I would let your child pick whatever color they want for their roof. We're going to use markers today. Because I'm such a picky person, I'm going to have a black roof on all of them. So watch me go real fast, okay? Here is a finished version for you to look at, and I think you'll really like what I did. So on my house, I'd have black roofs, right? And on the brick house, because in our story, it talked about that coyote going down the chimney, and in the original tale, the wolf goes down the chimney too. So I went ahead and drew a chimney on top of my brick house with some smoke coming out. I also drew a pig to represent each pig that made each house. So in our story, we had a brother pig in the straw house or a brother pig in the tumbleweed house. In the middle one, we had the brother pig who made the saguaro house or the stick house. And we also had the sister pig or the javelina pig. The sister javelina made the adobe or brick house. So to make little pigs, it's really easy. We'll do this together really fast because I think it's really neat for your kids to try to learn how to draw new things. Drawing can come easy for children, and sometimes it might be harder, so don't give up. You can always do it. You're going to draw a circle. See the circle? Good. And then pigs have pointy ears, so to make a pointy ear, just have your child draw a really basic triangle on each side of the head. And then I just do little bitty dot eyes. And to make it look like a pig, it's that nose. Can you make a nose like a pig? That's right. So you're gonna do a big circle with 2 dots in the middle on either side. And then I want my pigs to be happy because they beat that coyote, right? They outsmarted him. And there's a smiley pig. You can color this in however they want to. I made little bow ties for my men pigs. And that's just a circle with 2 little ovals on each side. And if you wanted it to be a girl pig with a bow in her hair, it would be that same thing, just on top of their head. And that's our craft for today. Thank you so much for coming to Virtual Story Time today. Remember, this Thursday is our next summer reading program. And we're going to have a special guest, Miss Kelly Burgess from the UK Cooperative Extension Office, is going to teach us some fairy tale nutrition recipes and some fun activities. Again, thank you so much for coming. We will see you soon, and happy reading. Bye.